What is the best CGM to use? I get asked this question a lot, and the answer is it really depends on your purpose in using it. So there are some brands that are best to use in a closed loop system with like an insulin pump. This would be the Dexcom, the G6, and then the future, the G7, which just got approved. But I can only speak to the way I use a continuous glucose monitor with our patients and how I train other nutrition and dietetic professionals to use it. And for us, hands down, it's the Freestyle Libre CGM. And here's why. And this is why it's important to think about what you're using it for and who your patient is. We use the continuous glucose monitor for 3 reasons: to help assess our patients, to educate our patients, and to provide them with some accountability. And I'm using it primarily with type 2 diabetes, with prediabetes to prevent diabetes, and in other conditions like post-gastric bypass, with POTS, issues where erratic blood sugar is an issue. And so I don't necessarily need the features that the Dexcom has. I don't need them to hook up with an insulin pump. What I need is a way for them to log their food and symptoms. And the Freestyle Libre products have that, where you can add a free note, which makes it very easy to log your food, log your exercise, your sleep, and any symptoms, so that when we get together at an appointment, we can use that Libre view, and it shows not just the glucose data, but everything you've logged in a linear fashion. And that makes troubleshooting so clear and effortless. You could also do this in the Dexcom system using their Clarity app, but because your patient's going to have to log separately and have that out on a piece of paper when you're meeting, it just makes it clunky and awkward, and I think people are less likely to keep up with the logging when it's that difficult. So for that reason, I always recommend for nutrition dietary professionals, when they're using this to assess, to educate, and to provide accountability, I like the Libre products. Now, of the Libre products, you have the choice of the 14-day, the Libre 2, and the Libre 3 now. And the one of those, my favorite right now, is the Libre 14-day. I have not used the Libre 3, but the reason I like the Libre 14-day is most of my patients do not need or want alarms. Now, alarms can be life-saving for people, and some of the people I work with do have issues with critical lows. And for those, I do recommend the Libre 2, and when it's more available, I might recommend the Libre 3. But for the most part, I don't want to have to deal with the alarms. It's just an extra step that they have to deal with. But if you know how to deal with the alarms and make them work for you instead of having them wake you up, which is what I teach other providers when I train them, then the Libre 2 and Libre 3 are also excellent products. Finally, I should add that I've noticed that some private insurers have dropped the Libre products from coverage, and they're only covering Dexcom. I don't know why they're doing this, but that is problematic. However, I want to remind you that the cash price of the Libre is still right around $40 per sensor, depending on where you live, depending on what pharmacy you're using. So that can be overcome if you're only using it for a short period of time, again, for assessment and education.